The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for calling into the webinar. I started it a little bit early, but we still have a few minutes until 6 o'clock. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to wait a few minutes and give everyone a chance to join the call.
Hello.
Hi, Melissa. We're just waiting a few minutes, but the call's already started.
Yeah, I'm gonna add myself as a panelist because it says that I'm muted, and that's what happened last time, I think.
Okay. I just added you
I
as
don't
a
know.
panelist.
Oh, okay, perfect. I don't know if it's gonna stop it. Yeah, I love that at the end, Rebecca.
The call has already started, Melissa.
Oh, okay. My apologies.
Do we have Kat and Tammy connected yet?
Tammy.
Yes.
Oh.
Okay.
Kat was here. Yes, she is. Yes, now she can talk.
Yeah,
So
I'm back now. Sorry, my internet's being weird.
Yeah, that was weird that I was breaking up on my computer because it's usually my telephone I break up on. So I am on my telephone.
Okay. So,
yes, and you're nice and clear now.
So it's 6 o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and give sort of the beginning housekeeping. Hello, everyone. We're going to give the information that Jan and Tammy have, and then at the end, when we do questions, I'm going to unmute everyone. So please be sure that you have your phone muted on your end so that when I unmute everyone, we don't get a lot of background noise. You can also click the little hand button if you're on your computer to let me know you have a question, or send it, whichever way is easiest for you.
Okay. Thank you, Rebecca. Appreciate it. This JNG, President of the Washington Food Industry Association. We have Tammy Hetrick, our Vice President, on the phone, who will be talking about the Business Reentry Registration Card. We have Melissa Burgess, our Communications and Website Manager, here to answer questions, and Kat Holm, who is our Legal Counsel and Director of Legislative Affairs, here to fill in where we can't do it. So Rebecca is from the office too, and thanks for managing this call. The purpose of the urgent phone call here, and we do apologize, is that we got a phone call from the governor's office, his staff, at 3:30 this afternoon, giving us a heads up that he would be holding a press conference within the next 24 hours to issue an executive order to move the Washington State response to COVID-19 to level 12, which does include highly restrictive travel in the state. Now, when it talks about travel, it means non-essential. So under emergency response, there's a critical infrastructure defined that is exempt from the travel. And the grocery industry, fuel, pharmacy, healthcare, all of that is considered critical infrastructure, and all the businesses that it takes to support that infrastructure. So any of the warehouses that deliver product to our stores that we need to have to stay open, or the convenience stores with the fuel because people have to get the fuel. And we have been working with the governor's office for some time now, since COVID-19 was introduced into our state. And I was assured today by the staff that when the governor makes his announcement tomorrow to restrict non-essential travel, that he would be specifically calling out our industry, and it will be in writing also that we are considered critical infrastructure. So the question is, do we know when he's going to make it effective? No. When the staff called us to advise us of this, the executive order had still not gone through all the levels of review and approval to get the agencies ready. And so they would not give us details other to tell us, one, it's going to happen. Two, our businesses need to register for what is called the business re-entry registration card, so that if at some point down the way you're driving, or your employee's driving on the road and you're pulled over by local law enforcement, that you are able to say or document that you work for an industry that is under the critical infrastructure exemption. Let's see, I'm going to ask the staff, because I didn't script this out. It's all just happened quickly. I hope I did mention to pharmacy, because all healthcare. I am going to, Tammy Huttrick is the one that has been working with the Emergency Response Division, and actually got the registration card for Kat, Tammy, and I, because they view us as critical infrastructure in terms of supporting our industry. So she has gone through the process of applying for this. And Tammy, could you please help our members understand what they need to do, how to do it, kind of maybe cover some of the questions we had on the earlier one. And up on our website is the link to doing this registration. But Tammy, I'll turn it over to you to cover this.
Okay. So yeah, so when you click on that link, there's an explanation of really what this is about. And this business reentry registration is, once this ban is in effect, if you're traveling, you need to be able to identify that you're on the roads because you're part of the critical infrastructure. So in other words, you have to be delivering or going to work or doing certain things. So in order to apply for this, you just need one person to do it, but you go in, you can request up to 500 cards. You don't need one for every employee. So if that's not enough, that's okay, because as long as that employee has identification, and that if there's a contact person that can verify that, yes, they're scheduled to work and they're on their way to work, or something like that, they should be fine. And so it's mostly just to be sure that, you know, we can track the people that are on the roads and that they're really supposed to be out there on the roads. But this reentry will also keep you in the loop on, as things change and as the emergency situations change, you'll be getting notifications. So this reentry registration is twofold. It's to help make sure we have the right people out on the roads, but also so we can get critical communication, or so the state can get critical communications out to all of you about what's going on and how things are changing. Because as you all know, it's changing by the minute. So as you fill that out, you'll get the questionnaire. You can select up to 3 people who can be the main contacts with an email and phone number. So if you have, you know, one of your trucks out there, they get pulled over, they have their registration card and they give it to the police officer, that should be fine. But they do need to have one person that they can contact, and that you would be able to verify that, yes, this person is, you know, on the job doing business for us. So when you fill out the form, you have to say what type of an organization you are. There's 3 choices. And all of these businesses that you would be applying is critical infrastructure. So that would be what you would choose under that. And then there's a continuity of operations plan. And this came up in the previous call. So there's 2 boxes there, and they both need to be checked. You have to have someone that is a trained response personnel. That's, you know, probably a safety person, maybe it's the owner, it's whoever's, you know, in charge of all of this to keep everybody in line and make sure operations are happening the way they should. And then your organization maintains a written plan that will direct response recovery efforts. And it mentions a business continuity plan. So what we've done is we've also linked to our website what a business continuity plan is and what the components of that are. So that's really it. It's a really small form, but it does take a few days for the state to get this done. And it's going to be overwhelming now because there's going to be a lot of people applying. But you are going to need to do this to be sure that you can keep your operations going. Jan, did I cover everything, do you think?
I think so. But that seemed to be the area we got the most questions on the first call. And I'm going to ask everybody to mute their own telephones. And I'm going to ask Rebecca to unmute you. But please unmute yourself only if you want to ask a question on this. Or if you're on your computer, Rebecca is looking for raised hands or people who have entered questions in the question box. So let's go for it, Rebecca, and see if we can get some questions for further clarification.
Okay, everyone is unmuted. And we still have some background noise, so make sure that you're muting yourself. Dave?
One of the questions earlier was if we knew how long this would last, and we don't. I mean, the whole reason that they are moving to level 12 and doing this travel restriction is because the number of cases have elevated in our state. So it will all be based upon how many tests are coming back positive and how many more deaths we're experiencing. This is to get this virus under control. Kat has recommended, I guess it's up, Kat, it's up on our website. John Hopkins is the best one.
Yeah, so John Hopkins has a map.
That is tracking the number of cases.
Yes.
So you can look at that each day if you choose, but it is an unknown factor. The effective date is unknown, but I suspect it will happen very quickly because I do not think they want people traveling, especially to work on Monday when a lot of office buildings open. And it is unknown how long it will last.
So Dave Martin has a question. Be sure you unmute yourself, Dave.
Okay, so Tyler told me a little bit, but where it asked for a UBI number on the BRE registration form. What about where we have 18 UBI numbers? Do we just register under the Myers Group, or do we just? I'm just looking for which way to go.
Yeah, I would actually register all the UBI numbers because it's all designated by UBI.
Okay.
And that's the only question I see on this call. So
I got a question.
Don Stoltz has a question.
This is Paul Kapiowski.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead,
Hi,
Paul.
Once we registered, it sounds like it takes some time for this to process. And when would you receive cards, or is it a card that you'll print off, or what type of identification will you get to give to your employees?
Yeah,
and in what time frame?
It comes through electronically. Now, when I did it, we got ours within 24 hours, or it wasn't long. But there's going to be a backlog now because they've notified us to let our members know, and they've let other associations that are critical infrastructure know to do this. So I think the key will be to say, yes, we've registered and we're waiting to get our cards.
Okay. So if on Monday they stop people, they can say that.
Yes.
So we should probably give our people our UBI number so that they can check it if they need to, or?
Oh, well, I think the important part is to be sure that your employees can be identified as an employee of your store. So then if they're out there, they can at least say, look, I'm an employee, this is a critical infrastructure position. I've got to get to this place or that place. So it's at least showing that they are, and that there's a contact person that they will have that they can verify that person is actually on the job.
So we should probably print them an information paper that they can carry until they get a card.
That wouldn't hurt.
An excellent idea. Yeah, excellent idea on your letterhead, so it looks official and they'll be left alone.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions? This group's too easy.
I think Don Stoltz has a question.
Yeah, Jan, I have a couple of questions. First off, I believe that my company was previously registered as a critical infrastructure organization. Are we still required to do this, do you think, or should we do it just out of, to make sure, or has that come up with anybody?
If you don't have, go ahead. Jan, I'll let you answer.
You lost Jan. Okay. Well, I'll probably go ahead and do this just to make sure.
Yeah.
But
I was going to say, if you can't find that registration card, and they're just an electronic thing that you get over email that you need to print, if you don't have those, I would say go ahead and re-register because it does give you a 1-year expiration, and it does give you a key Washington code that is special to you. Okay.
So second question is this information that we have right now, is this, I don't even know how to say it, sensitive is what, can I call my managers right now and say, hey, this is going to happen? Or is this like off the record for 24 hours until the announcement comes out?
So since we lost Jan, I will answer because this question came up on the last call, is you can let them know. It needs to stay pretty quiet and confidential, but people, the reason that Jan was told is because we need to be prepared. So your managers obviously need to be prepared. So they would be in the loop on this.
So every employee that's driving to the store needs to either have a card or be able to say, call this person or something. Is that right?
They either need to have a card or they need to have identification that shows that they are your employee, and be able to identify that they're, you know, either going to work or that they're providing the supplies that are, you know, acceptable under whatever the restriction may be. Because the one part that we know is when he identifies us as a level 12, there could be some modifications in what that restriction looks like. And we don't know what that is. But it could be that, you know, there's only transportation of certain supplies and all of these other things. We don't know.
Okay. And then another question, I'm physically out of town right now.
Mm-hmm.
So do I need to get back in town personally before this gets announced tomorrow? Because I don't know how long it takes to get these cards and things.
Yeah, I think there's going to be some time that he's going to allow people to get back home. So I would assume there'll be some leniency, but you know, that he's really just trying to do what he can to stop the spread of this virus.
Yeah, I get that. I don't want to be stuck out of town.
Right. No, I totally understand. And I think if you've applied, you could also say, look, we've applied and we're just waiting to get our card.
Okay. So it's the link on the website. And then you said something about check both boxes. I was trying to follow that. 3 choices, critical infrastructure, check both boxes.
Yeah. So when you get to the application, I mean, it's really like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions. After you've put your UBI in and your business name, it asks you how many cards you want. And then it asks you which counties your organization operates in. And if you operate in all counties, then you just check all counties. You describe what your presence and justification for the card is. In other words, you know, your critical infrastructure, you're delivering, you know, necessary goods, or you're providing necessary goods, you know, things like that. And then it asks what type of organization. Again, that's where you click critical infrastructure. And then the last question is continuity of operations plan. And you need to check both of those. You need to check that your organization has trained response personnel, which at this point you've probably got, you know, people in the know that are engaged in this and know, you know, who's doing what and what's going on. And then your organization maintains a written plan that will direct response recovery efforts. And in parentheses, it's a business continuity plan. We've put a link on the website for you to kind of explain what a business continuity plan is and what you need to do to develop one.
And that's on your website. That's not on this, this website.
That's correct. But in order to get the card, you have to have those 2 things in order to even get to the next step.
You have to say you have one.
Correct.
Okay. I'm just again trying to figure out how do I get this process started, and then I can do the continuity plan the next day.
Correct. That's exactly what we're saying is get this application done, get things in the works. We've provided you with the materials you need to get that continuity plan in place.
Okay.
Kevin Weatherall and then Carolyn.
Can you hear me? I'm on an iPad.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Hey, I just want to let you know I did put together a letter for my employees because I didn't know how this worked and I didn't want to be caught off guard. So I'll email that to you and you can post it under the member resources thing.
Perfect.
That talks about critical infrastructure, and I pulled something off from a university and I just kind of shredded it apart and made it fit for our business. So if people want to take a look at that, it's a pretty quick cut and paste.
Excellent. Thank you.
And then Carolyn.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, I mean, in the short term also, uniforms or ID tags from the store? Should you be encouraging your employees to wear their uniforms, have their ID tags in their car, and that type of thing? Does that work too?
I think any way that they can identify themselves, name and company is going to be important if they don't actually have one of the registration cards. So yeah, from what I've read on this website, and when you go to do the application, it does kind of give you some of those details that, if that person isn't been identified with a card, that as long as they have some other way to identify them as an employee and that you can verify that, yes, they are on company business, that will suffice.
And we have a question over in the question box. It says, will hardware stores and to-go restaurants be closed after this order?
Well, unfortunately, we lost Jan here.
No, she's here.
No, I'm
good.
back.
Oh, good. Oh,
I'm
thank
back.
goodness. Yay, Jan. Okay.
I live in a hole and I get in and out interception, unfortunately, and we're all working out of our homes. So we're ready for this. But the last infrastructure list that I saw, the critical infrastructure, included the hardware stores because those things are needed, and the to-go food, we're all under the same category with the restaurants on to-go. So I haven't seen the final language because it hadn't gone through all the levels, but I feel pretty certain that the to-go restaurants will still be open because we're under the same exemption there where we can fix to-go food out of our deli. We will have the final wording tomorrow, and it will be immediately posted up on our website, and we will immediately send an email out to y'all that it's posted up there so you have the final language. But also tvw.org is the state TV station / web station. And the governor always does his announcements with the TVW coverage. And if you go on to your website and go tvw.org, it will put a daily schedule up at some point, and it'll tell when the governor's going to do it. You could actually even watch it online, or if you know your local TV station. But we will get it right up, and we will advise you right away.
This is Kevin again. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Just for the other night I was looking to find out, well, what's the difference between level 12 and what we're doing now? And if you Google for Slate Magazine, the different, what's different between what we're doing now and a shelter in place, you'll see a really short article, and it does a really good job of describing the difference based on what's happening in San Francisco. I gave that to all my store managers so that they would have a better idea, because everybody's going to have questions, and I wanted to give them as much good information as possible.
Yeah, the only word of caution there, Kevin, is that every state has the flexibility to modify that according to what they deem is best for their state. So the governor could do something different. All we know, and all the staff would tell us, is that it would include the travel restrictions, and that our industry and all the elements of it would be named in the governor's statement as a critical infrastructure.
Yeah, I suggest reading the article, because the similarities from where we are now and those what's deemed essential, 12 categories. It's pretty similar. It has more to do how it in fact impacts people who want to travel who aren't in the critical infrastructure category. So it's a 5-minute read. It does a pretty good job of outlining differences.
No more St. Patty Day parties. Do we have any other questions?
There are none in the question box and no more hands are raised. So unless somebody
Okay.
wants to, and I'm going to re-unmute the people who didn't mute themselves before to see if they want to speak now.
Jan, this is Ron. Thank you so much for getting this out in front of us.
You bet.
Hey, Jan, where in the critical infrastructure section, where would fuel stations fall under? They don't have anything specifically designed like that. They have energy or transportation systems or commercial facility.
It falls under energy.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Thanks.
specifically, when we sent our letter to the governor a week ago, we listed fuel on there, and pointed out to the governor that we distribute 80% of the fuel to consumers, and they said, yeah, we get it, you're exempt. So, yeah. So we will get that information. Melissa's been managing our website and been doing a fabulous job of getting things posted daily on there. My name is, my email, phone numbers on there to ask questions. We've got Tammy's name up there if you have questions specific to the registration card, because she's been interfacing with the state on that. Tammy is a good one to contact, but of course, any or all of our staff, as you well know, are at your beck and call to find out the answers. The two questions we had from the earlier call that we couldn't answer specifically is, will alcoholic beverages be included as critical infrastructure? And I need to find that out. It's part of our grocery store, so my assumption is yes. And we got to have the wineries and the microbrews and the distillers in order to get liquor. So, but we will put the answers up on the website, and Rebecca's been taking notes who answered. The other is if flowers. So we have a wholesale flower company that services our grocery stores, and we need to find out if flowers will fit under that exemption. So if you have any other questions like that, please just submit them to me and we will get clarification from the governor's staff. And good luck. And if I lost you all when I was saying, because it got pretty quiet, that if you're a retail store, I would make contact with your local law enforcement first thing tomorrow and just ask them to make a few extra trips around your stores after this announcement is made for a day or two to make sure that people don't go into a panic. That I was assured today that the governor is going to be very, very clear that our whole line of distribution, our suppliers, our warehouses, our grocery stores, everything is staying open and there's no reason for consumers to panic. They will have product, but I would just, I would go ahead and just contact your local law enforcement and just be a buddy with them for a couple days till you get a good handle on how consumers are going to respond.
Jan, I joined a little bit late. When was the announcement going to be made?
They called me at 3:30 and said it would be within 24 hours. The governor's been doing his press conferences between about 1 and 3 this week. So I was saying that if you go to tvw.org and you look at their full schedule, once they get the governor's schedule on his media advisories, they'll post it and you can actually go on your computer and listen to it right there. We will make sure that we download it and have it on our website too, but we will get the written document for clarification tomorrow, and it will be posted on our website. I just encourage that you have somebody on your staff that's checking our website regularly for new information.
Hey, Jan, this is Melissa. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I just wanted to reiterate to everybody, I've had a few emails from folks that want to share this webinar with their managers and whatnot. So it is on our COVID-19 webpage. On the bottom right-hand corner, there's a webinar icon, and we'll get these posted for folks that want to listen to them.
Are you going to post them both or just the first one?
I don't know, probably both, because there was some connection issues in the first one as well.
Okay. Alrighty. Okay. Well, that's it, folks. We'll try to keep you up to date as best we can. Watch for emails or phone calls, and you know it's important if we're sending those because we know how busy it is for you guys going right now with everything. So we're only really sending you important information. And we got a great staff and everybody's here to help you. And thank you for joining in. Good night.
Thank you.